I'm so glad you're here listening to the Sustain Your Passion podcast. I'm Genesis, your host and business development expert. If you're ready to make a bigger impact and income while helping others, then you're in the right place. Thanks for joining me, and I can't wait to help you sustain your passion. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Sustain Your Passion. I'm so excited to talk with you today because my friend and new bookkeeper is here with me to talk to you about all the things that honestly I wish I had known during my first year of business about bookkeeping and keeping all your money straight. So, Gracesyn Powell is going to tell us about some of the tips that she's learned and working with other folks just like me, just like you, on our bookkeeping. So, Gracesyn, why don't you say hi to everyone and then we'll dive into our conversation.
Well, hello. Yes, it's Gracesyn. I'm a certified bookkeeper. I got certified through the NACPB, which is the National Association of Certified Public Bookkeepers, back in February of 2023, and then got cross-certified in QuickBooks Online in May of that same year. I love working with my people. My niche audience is just a Venn diagram that's really a circle. So neurodivergent people who are, seeking to either build or sustain their own community, and contribute overall, to, betterment and taking care of themselves and other people.
Mm.
And bookkeeping can be really scary. It can be
Mm-hmm.
really scary. And so I bring what I'm fondly calling a bestie please kind of energy to all of my clients. That's like, babes, it's okay. It can be scary, but we can do it scared.
So helpful. Yes, I love that. I feel like that is the epitome of what working with you has been like. It's just been this constant reminder that, like, no, like you're doing just fine. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
promise, this is what it's supposed to look like. Like, yes,
Yeah.
there are a lot of accounts. Yes, there are a lot of charges. Yes, there are a lot of categories to, organize these charges into.
Yeah.
And this is just our work and it's fine.
Yep. Yeah, one of the things that I really like bringing to the table during every client interaction is the fact that we're not actually talking about math. We're not actually dealing with hard and fast numbers. What we're dealing with is categories. That's it.
Right.
It's why I fell in love with bookkeeping, even though I hate math and it was my worst class in school. I still became a bookkeeper because I recognized that bookkeeping isn't actually about the numbers. It's about your perspective on what you want those numbers to do for you, what
Ooh.
categories you
Oh,
want them to fit in.
oh my gosh. Okay. 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 So I just want to like own real quick for everybody listening to this. Like when I came to Grayson, when we found each other through a magical cosmic of, series of events in a Facebook group, I was fresh out of my divorce and was realizing, oh, fuck, my 2023 bookkeeping needs to be done like yesterday. And I don't want to do that. I don't know how to do that. And I need help like fast. And so I posted in this Facebook group about my shit show of books, and Grayson was like, "Don't worry, I've probably seen worse. Like, let's just talk about it." And was so happy to meet with me like asynchronously because literally the idea of like talking to a human would make me start
Foul.
crying at that point. And so it was just like so hard. And you were so kind and so helpful. And then within like a month or something, you fucking did the whole thing. I was
Yep.
able to send it off to my tax guy and be like, I don't want to look at this. And someone else did it right. And here you go. And so I'm just so curious now. Can you tell us a bit about what that was like for you? Like, as a bookkeeper, I feel like you are so good at non-judgment.
Yeah.
And so I just want to hear a bit like about your perspective of working together, and then let's see what kind of tips we can drum up to share with folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've loved working with you. Again, it really did feel like, a God-kissed blessing of running into you and being like, oh my gosh, hello, yes, I can help you. And the whole idea that I bring of like non-judgment to your books is mostly from being in therapy since I was 14. And recognizing the inherent value of a non-judgmental space where you can be, flawed and scared and human. And that's okay. Not only is it okay, it's a good thing. You being vulnerable and transparent with me about the things in your books that bring you anxiety or pain or worry lets me see where your boo-boos need the most metaphorical kisses and let me
Mm,
love you right, not just as my client, but as your friend, because I don't want clients that aren't also my friends. Because
right.
I
Oh my
don't
God, I
want
love
to,
that.
yeah, I don't want to walk into a meeting going, I'm dreading talking to this person. And I
Right.
don't want anybody else to feel that way about me. Um, and that's not to say that every, client relationship I'm ever going to have as a bookkeeper is going to be all sunshine and rainbows because
Sure.
we're humans and we're talking about money, which has a lot of taboos
Yes.
and a lot of like societal standards and expectations and requirements and laws, like actual laws that you can get you in like big girl trouble.
Hmm.
Um, but because there's all that pressure, I don't ever want people to feel it with me. I want to know that my people feel safe with me, no matter whether we're
Yeah.
looking at, you made $100,000 this year or you lost $100,000 this year. Baby, there's no judgment. Your money is doing what you want it to do. And if it's not, then we just need to make it be different. And that's
Mm,
okay.
mm. That is so empowering. And I feel like is not, and it could be, it's so funny. I don't know that many bookkeepers. I don't know a lot of accountants. I don't know that many people that work in this area, but like I have all these stories about bookkeepers are gonna be mean, they're gonna be mad,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna be like, you're so stupid, this is a mess. Like
Yeah.
I just definitely have this whole story in my head because of my own internal
Yeah.
shame around money and bookkeeping. And like
Yeah.
uh, I have this ideal of what I should be doing, which is like, the person that categorizes every single charge, like the day it comes through. And
Yeah. No.
like, I'm not going to do
No.
that. But so I always feel
No.
like I'm failing. But yeah, just the approach you bring to like, it's your money. Let's just like make sure we know what's happening with it.
Yeah.
It's so much safer of like, oh, it's just information
Yep.
rather than like, it's something we're going to shame me for.
Nope, it's just data. I view it no differently than reading, I'm a big nerd on psychology. So I love reading like the newest studies.
Mm,
And that information in those studies is intentionally gathered as non-judgmentally as possible. And I try to bring that same standard for myself. Like I'll ask you questions about this Amazon charge, but I don't care what you bought. I just need to know what you're using it for so I can put it in the right bucket. If you're buying planners and pens, then that's an office supply expense, not, a cost of service if you're then turning those around and selling them for a profit. That's a whole different category if you're buying those planners to turn them around and sell them versus using them for your own personal use. That's the only reason I'll ever ask you any questions is just because I want to know what you're doing. What you
right.
doing? I'm just nosy. I'm not
I
going to do
love
anything
it.
about it. I'm just nosy.
I know. I love when I was like, can you help me understand like which of these Amazon charges go where and like how to do that? And you were like, oh, yeah, let me get up in there. Like, I want to know. It's so fun because I feel like
Yeah,
I can be honest with you and like I'm
of
not gonna, I
course.
don't know, feel embarrassed that like, yes, there is a lot of Grubhub charges. Like,
Yeah.
that is the reality of what fuels my work. It's fine.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And again, this is one of those, it is good to consult with your CPA, because, it depends on your corporation structure. So if you are, at least as I'm understanding it, please do keep in mind, I am not a certified tax professional. Take everything I say about taxes with a grain of salt. Um,
Yes. We need
but
both bookkeepers and tax
and
accountants.
CPAs, yes.
Yes.
You will have a powerhouse of a team with a quality bookkeeper and a quality CPA. But from what I'm understanding, if your corp structure is that you're an LLC and then you expense yourself as an employee expense, some of those Grubhub charges very well are 50% deductible, which is the 2023 and 2024 deduction expense for employee meals, because you are
Mhm.
an employee of your
Right.
business and you are
Right.
feeding yourself. So that is a 50% deductible expense. And again, this
Mhm.
can vary. So make sure to check with your CPA, blah, 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 blah,
Mhm.
blah. But
Mhm.
like being able to tell you that helps mitigate so much of the shame around, well, I'm just spending my business money on food. Okay. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so what? If that's what
Right.
matters to you and that's what keeps you working, then do that. I don't care.
Exactly. I'm
Like
so
that's
much more likely to want to sit down and write like a 10-page sales page if I
yeah.
know that Thai food is on the way as my reward.
Exactly. And like you can walk into your client meetings and your coaching calls feeling energized because you got exactly what your body was asking you for. And
Yeah.
that empowerment and that, ability to make informed consensual decisions for yourself about what you do with your money is really important to me. Like that's an ethical standard that I hold really tightly,
Mm-hmm.
is making sure that, my people, my clients, my business owners, my entrepreneurs, my people who are carving a path through a really dark forest all by themselves know that there is a light there, that there is someone who's right there next to them,
Mm-hmm.
walking them through that dark forest path, knowing that they're not alone and that there is no judgment. I don't
Yeah.
care what you do. I just care that we put it in the right spot so you
Right.
don't
Like
get
that we
in big boy
know what's
trouble.
happening. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Which I think is honestly like as a business coach, I talk to so many folks that like at the end of the day, it is actually fairly rare. I would say maybe 20% is like a gross overestimation. Maybe 20% of the conversations I have about money with my clients actually are because they don't actually have enough money.
Right.
But the fears and the worries come because they just don't have the information about their money
Right.
to have peace of mind, which makes
Yeah.
sense because if it's like it's like all of our junk drawers. You know that
Yes.
like every 6 months we're like, okay, it's time to
Oh
pull everything
no.
out, get rid
Yeah.
of some shit, put it back in so it fits, so I can shut this drawer the next time I have to add a receipt to it or whatever you store in there. Right?
Right.
You pull out a pair of scissors or whatever. You don't want to stab yourself
Mm-hmm.
on five other things. And
Exactly.
that is the same feeling of like, oh, I'm just going to throw it in there, not look at it. But then it becomes this big problem. But once
And you
you
wind up
carve
stabbing
out time
yourself.
and you can look at it, it's like, oh, this isn't that
Yeah.
big of a problem. And everything
No.
does have a place. It
Yep.
just was building up as a bigger, scarier thing because I was giving it the
Exactly.
power to scare me out of even looking at it.
Exactly. Exactly. And like I never want a client of mine to walk away from a conversation with me about their books and feel like they walked out of that meeting dumber than they walked in. No, no,
Oh,
you're not dumb. That's
yeah.
not, you're not dumb. And you
Mm,
don't have to know if you are comfortable with outsourcing. Like if
mhm,
you and I can work together about deconstructing the shame and the guilt of, but I can't do it. It's a big block for me. I dread doing
mhm,
it. I hate it. It makes me so anxious. I don't want to know how much money I spent. I don't want to know how much money I made. I just want to know that my bills will be paid and that, I'm not going into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. Like, baby, you're not dumb. You're not
mhm.
dumb for not wanting to deal with this. You're allowed to decide that you just don't want to deal with that. And you
Right.
can, without shame and without guilt, outsource it to me. Because guess what? Then I don't have to worry that my bills aren't going to get paid because you're
Yes.
paying me to help make sure your bills are paid. And that's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, isn't it?
Right.
That's so gorgeous. We
Which
love
is
that.
like, that's one of the goals of starting your own business, right? Is like the one day be able to have more power and influence over the way that our economy looks. At least for me, like,
Exactly.
I really love being a steward of money. I think I make
Yes.
fairly good decisions with how I spend my money. And like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna, volunteer to sign up for, that meal train a little bit more because when somebody just gets surgery or something, right? Because
Right.
I know I have a line item in my budget for being generous and I know
Yeah.
that I can do that because I have that clarity. So, oh,
Exactly.
yeah, and I don't think most new entrepreneurs get actual helpful advice that is tailored to their newness. Like most of the
Yeah.
folks we're talking about, like they there's this threshold of, oh, my business is too small to need bookkeeping. My business is
Right.
too small to really need to hire someone. My business is too small. It's fine. I'll just, not worry about the numbers. I won't track anything. And then, like, maybe at the end of the year, I'll look at it. And, like, that's what I did for the first 3 years. No joke.
Right.
And it worked. But
Yeah.
if I could, I would have been way more in quick to invest in an accountant and a bookkeeper
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
year one because their level of work will scale with you. So, like, if I had had a bookkeeper
Exactly.
working with me in my first year, they would have been cheaper than I
Oh,
think they
yeah.
are, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I just never even looked into it. But because I had, a little tiny business, it was fine because there wasn't that many transactions. So it would have been cheaper. But that's one of those
Mm-hmm.
things that, like, people think about accountants that, like, oh, I have to pay the accountant. But what you don't realize is the accountant actually is paying themselves
Yep.
by helping you save more money on your taxes or,
Yep.
fully take advantage of the system that fucks you left and right
That
by,
part.
taking some of the wins you can when you do taxes. And that
Yep.
totally applies here to bookkeeping. And so
Yep.
for the listeners here, I just want to talk a bit about some hard and fast like tips we could give for anyone in their first year of business. I just want you to know first and foremost, like my first tip, and then I'll kick it over to you, is you probably are doing better than you think if you are aware of the fact that you should be documenting things. Like that in and of itself is
Yes.
enough during your first year, and like be somewhat trying to document things, whether that's twice a year, four times a
Yep.
year, once a month, like a weekly coffee date with yourself. I don't care. Pick a method, but like please don't wait the entire year because it is a big job.
Yeah.
And during your first year, it's so helpful to just start establishing those habits so that as your business grows, you already have the systems in place to grow with
Hmm.
you. So that would be my first tip. What about you? What do you think?
So one, yes, absolutely. Documenting things is the very first step.
Mm-hmm.
I will say my very first tip is with full confidence, talk to a bookkeeper. You don't even have to hire us. Most of the time, so at least for me in particular, one of the things that really gets me fired up is education and talking and walking you through it so you feel empowered to do it yourself. And I would be willing to do that training for the free 99 if it means that you walk away knowing that you got told the correct information by a trained professional, right? Now, I can't speak for the entire accounting field. Um, but that means that if you call around local CPAs and you ask for a free consultation, most of the time they're going to give you one. They're going to give you a free consultation. And you can ask them questions like, what for my business type, service provider, product provider, both. What deductions make sense? What things can I, potentially expense out as a business expense. And that then gives you the power to check rates too near you. Your best bet is always going to be having a local CPA rather than one who's, hundreds of thousands of miles away from you, only because local CPAs are going to be better trained in like state and local tax over someone who's far away from you. Um, but you can get a lot of information from a very small amount of time if you know how to ask the right questions and you know that there are questions like pressing down on your brain, making you anxious. Um, so I know some of the questions I asked a local CPA were, what tax structure makes sense for me as an unmarried woman with one dependent?
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of deductions can I theoretically look at if I'm traveling to the state of Virginia to visit with my boss, Emerald Storm, who owns Emerald Virtual Assistants that I'm contracted with? What makes the most sense? Expensing out the
Mm-hmm.
actual automobile expense or the gas cost? And the mileage, like what kinds of those kinds of questions are the ones that you should be gearing yourself up to ask at the end of your first year of business, when you're going to do your taxes. Even if you do your taxes yourself, you can still get free consults with CPAs and bookkeepers. um, and like knowing that everything's documented, you'll then be able to trace back what, based on your documentation, right? What were the biggest expenses? Was it software? Was it apps? Was it website hosting? Was it, traveling? If you're an artist and you do a lot of markets, travel's going to be a huge expense for you.
Yeah.
Um, just so everybody has a heads up. based on the IRS publication. The mileage rate did bump this year from
Oh,
65 cents to 67 cents per mile. So
okay.
asking a CPA, based on your actual expense, which is how much is your car note, your insurance, the actual gas, repairs and maintenance, versus your mileage expense, where your car gets really crappy mileage, it's probably going to make more sense to write off the actual expense over the mileage. But a CPA will be
Mm,
able to tell you that hard and fast as long as they have documentation. Again, even
okay,
with a
right.
free consult.
That makes so much sense. I'm thinking about the first time I actually talked to an accountant. That was what we did. I think I
Mm-hmm.
paid for it because I wanted to get like some nitty-gritty answers and brought in my
Mm-hmm.
taxes and stuff from last year. But
Yeah,
from that initial consult, he was able to find me another like $1,500 that I didn't
exactly.
expense, which paid for his fee and then some. So then I actually
Mm-hmm.
made money by talking to my accountant.
Right.
But the biggest like blocker for me was being afraid to go in and to know what to talk about, which to me
Yeah.
now I'm starting to understand like bookkeeping is the process of being
Yep.
prepared to talk about your money with
Exactly.
people that can then help you strategize the right paths, whether that's
Yep.
a lawyer that you're talking to about how to set up a trust or
Yep.
your CPA to help you set up your own retirement account as a sole
Yep.
proprietor or as a S corp or whatever. Like it's really hard to even know what you
Mm-hmm.
need help with if you
Yeah.
don't know the status of your money.
Yep.
Because it's kind of like, well, what am I going to make for dinner? I don't know what ingredients I have in the fridge. Like, I need to learn
Right.
that first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
Probably for me, tip two
Yeah.
would look a lot like get you a basic Google Sheet. I am a
Mm-hmm.
die-hard fan of Google Sheets.
Oh my God,
Why?
same.
Because one, they're free. Two, they are some of the most accessible from a neurodivergent place in terms of already being set up for you. There are a couple of really good templates that I live and breathe by as a bookkeeper. It's the annual business budget, which was actually created by Intuit QuickBooks, which is one of the
Mm.
leading softwares for self-done bookkeeping, where you don't have any training, you just buy QuickBooks subscription and do your bookkeeping, right? I still
Oh,
hate that software, but
same. I tried it like 2 years
yeah,
in a row. I tried it and was like,
I
I don't want to become certified in this, and this
yeah.
makes my brain hurt. So I'm just going to go back to
Yeah.
my Google Sheet.
Yeah, and Google Sheets, I mean, if you really want to get like neurodivergent hyper focused on it, it's really easy to learn how to make your own formulas and everything. For funsies, for shits and gigs, I do play with Google Sheets because I'm hoping to create a very neurodivergent friendly template that I can then produce for people. But I love those templates that are already built. They already have the formulas filled in. All you have to do is change it to reflect what your business looks like and what you make money from and what you spend money on. And it works for profit businesses, 501(c)(3s. It works for small businesses. It works for big businesses. It works for service providers and product providers. Like overall, very robust Google Sheet. Um, and again, it's free, which helps remove that barrier of I can't really afford accounting software, but I need to do my bookkeeping. If it's free, babes, you don't got to pay for it. It's right
Right.
there. It's right
So
there.
worth it. Yes.
So
Okay.
worth
So
it.
love that tip. That's so helpful because that's one of the things, right? Is that uh, knowing which tools to use even at this
Mm-hmm.
level is what personally like my business seeks to do, right? Is to fill that
Yeah.
gap. We're not talking about the 100K a month, $1 million business,
No.
whatever. We're talking about like you want to sustain your income and like feed your family. You still should
Yeah.
be tracking your numbers. And there
Yes.
is a method for you to do that that's free
Yep.
and you can learn how to do it with some very reasonable support costs
Yeah.
from people like Grayson. Like,
Yep.
I just love that so much.
I love teaching. So like I'm never going to have a problem. One of the things I think I did this to you too, even though you were very, I don't want to be
What?
involved. I just want you to do it. I tell people up front, like, listen, I'm happy for every single time I do your books to be a shadow call where you sit with me and we do it together on my big honker chonker screen and we do it together and I teach you how I'm doing it and how I know that this is the right answer. So you basically get the training I got for $500 for free because I don't
Mhm.
care that I paid for it and you don't have to. I care that you now feel empowered in
Mhm.
your own business, babes, which is
Mhm.
what you deserve. You
I love that.
deserve to feel empowered. You are worthy of being supported,
Mm.
whether you can afford it or not.
Mm. Yes. And this is why we love Grayson, everyone. So if you are ready to work with a bookkeeper, just find her because, oh my gosh, yes, she really
Go
does make
ahead.
bookkeeping this easy.
I
Okay,
try.
let's see what would be my second tip. Let's try and each come up with three. Okay, so
Okay.
my second tip is going to be um I think that there is a lot out there about profit first,
Oh.
and there's a lot of fear of debt, especially as a new business owner. And so I just want to say, like, in general, it is helpful to read other people's perspectives on money management. And at the end of the day, you have your own level of risk comfort that
Yes.
no one else needs to understand but you. And so, however you want to run your money, you can. And there are ways that, like, people will recommend, sure, but, like, I personally have a hodgepodge, like, I've read a bunch of different philosophies, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't keep a strict profit first, bucket system, I don't do the whole, like, pre-taxes goes into it a separate account, like, I run my things not as split up as it could be per se,
Mm-hmm.
but I also have always had cash to pay my taxes because of the way I run it. So like it works, but it's not like some perfectly organized method. And so I just want to
Mm-hmm.
say, like, whatever you end up needing to do and wanting to do with your money
Mm-hmm.
management is probably okay. So long as you are learning things about cash flow. I would say that is just like the most important skill that, like, I did not learn earlier in business was the importance of cash flow over anything really. Like, you have to shift away from, like, I want to be debt free. Your first couple months, like, it's okay to shift away from being debt free if you understand how a cash flow works and if you don't plan on your business closing right away. And like that you are going to see it through until you pay that debt off. And that can happen. And so I just think there's so much judgment out there about how we should be spending our money and whatnot that I just want to give the reminder that yes, go learn those methods, be aware of them, and you've been managing your money successfully before you started a business, or if you haven't, like, this is a good opportunity to clean some of those decisions up. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, like, it's not that different. And you get to be the boss of this area too as the leader of your business. And so, like, don't let it scare you if you think that there's some really strict method you need to be following, and make up your own fucking rules, except your tax laws. Then, talk to the people that have the knowledge. But in general,
Mm-hmm.
like, how you spend your money is still up to you. And that's a good thing.
Yes, yes. Okay, so this is one of my very favorite topics to get into, both just as a person and as a certified bookkeeper, right?
Mhm.
Um, so I believe strongly in being radically vulnerable
Mm.
as a bookkeeper. Okay. Because when we think of, accounting and finance professionals, we either think of the finance dude bros who are like the stock market and financial investments and my Roth IRA. Love that for them. Love that for you if that's your shtick. Love that very genuinely. Um, and we also then think of those very straight backed, very like buttoned blazer, long sleeved shirt, slacks, brown business shoes, got a little briefcase, got some glasses. That's what I
Mhm.
still think of as an accounting professional when
Yes.
I think of accounting professionals. Okay. And I'm sitting here in my probably 10-year-old sweatpants and a ratty sweater. So that's
I love it.
definitely not me. I'm very young. I just had my 23rd birthday. I have a kid. I work from home. Most of my bookkeeping work is done at nighttime when she's chilling out watching her TV show because I am, in fact, a tech mom. Sorry,
I love it.
guys. Sorry, guys, but sorry, not sorry.
Screen time.
Um,
Woohoo.
love it. But that means that like your money is yours, honey. I'm not going to sit
Mhm.
here and yell at you about what you spent your money on unless that's something you tell me
Right.
you need
Unless
me
you
to
want
do.
that.
Unless you want that kind of rigid accountability, that's not my job. That's not what I am here for. One of the
Mm,
things that like irritates me about the accounting field is that bookkeepers are considered like the bottom of the barrel because we require the least amount of training by law. We require the least amount of certifications by law. And you could walk into a building tomorrow and get a job as a bookkeeper with zero training, zero experience. They just hire you to run their books.
mm.
Whereas you then scale up to like CPAs, accountants, years of school, hundreds of thousands of dollars in
Yeah.
debt to become CPAs and accountants, right? That's not me. That will never be me. I am not a tax
Right.
babe. No,
Right.
thank you. They scare me.
Yes.
And part of my, ethic and what I bring to being a bookkeeper is that vulnerable transparency and that radical, hey babes, I'm just as messy as you. So in that energy, I'm thousands of dollars in debt.
Hmm.
I am. I got
Everyone with a mortgage is hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. I don't understand. Like,
where
I,
that
I,
disconnect is.
I get the idea that like, oh, it's a different, like
It's a
it's an
different,
asset,
it's considered a liability and also an
right?
asset from a bookkeeper perspective.
Right. And like I know that like the interest rates are different between a mortgage and like let's say a credit card, but at the same time you might have a
Debt is
0%
debt.
credit card, but
Debt is debt.
also your interest on your credit card if it's
It's
business
probably
related is
better.
an expense.
Yep.
And like that means it cuts down your tax liability. Like it's a
Yep.
whole thing
It's a whole
that
thing.
yeah, like it's a useful tool. And even like the
Yep.
CPA that has to go in debt to become a CPA, like that is how that works in
They want to
America.
make
Like
sure they're getting
we
a quality return on investment.
exactly, it is an
Yep.
investment in your future. And
Yep.
yeah, that means you're carrying debt to be responsible to finishing what you set your goal as when you took that debt out.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is probably going to qualify as my next tip, right?
let's
Pick
do
what
it.
matters and stick with it. Pick what matters and stick with it until it
Mm,
doesn't matter anymore. And it's
mm,
okay if it doesn't matter anymore. So I am really big on paying off my debt, right?
mm-hmm,
I'm looking at potentially moving this year, and that's going to be
mm,
about $8,000. It's going to be
right.
about 8 grand between first loss security on a new place, making sure we have, at least a little bit of wiggle room while we get new jobs. Don't worry, I'm still yours. I'm not dumping you.
Good,
This isn't
good.
me
I was gonna
breaking up with
say,
you.
new jobs.
Um,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm not breaking up with you, I promise.
Good.
But like it's gonna be about 8 grand, all things
Right.
said and done, right? I don't have 8 grand sitting in a bucket waiting for me to use it to move. I could not even
Mm-hmm.
tell you today how I'm gonna get that 8 grand. And
Mm-hmm.
that's okay because I know when I need it, I will have my 8 grand. Why?
Yes.
Because I trust that the money will come. Why
Yes.
do I trust that the money will come? Well, because I said so.
Yep.
Because that's what I decided matters and I'm sticking with it.
Yep. And I'm gonna
Um,
make it happen. I'll
and
figure it out. And
I will
that's,
figure
yeah,
it
that
out.
decision being made is so important.
And so if you decided tomorrow that what mattered to you with your money is you don't want to be in debt, you want to only pay off the charges that you made on your credit cards every month. You don't want any remainder balance. Okay, babe, great. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how we can make that happen
Mm-hmm.
because it's not black and white. And this is something I encounter with all of my very favorite clients is this very black and white perspective on things. And as someone, again, radically transparent, I have borderline personality disorder. And one of the key factors of BPD is black and white thinking.
Right.
Same with autism, which I
Yep.
also have,
Yes.
is that very rigid, this or that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
no. It can be both. You can both make a greater effort to pay off your debt and sustain being able to feed your family and pay your bills.
Yes.
I I hate Dave Ramsey. Okay.
Same.
With a passion, I hate this man and I
Yes.
hate what he teaches and I hate how he talks to people because it's so demeaning and so
Mm-hmm.
belittling and so
Mm-hmm.
degrading. And I don't talk to my people like that. I go, hey, you made I'm pulling numbers out of my butt crack. You
Mhm.
made 10 grand in profit, which is what happens, little tip here, what happens when you take your income minus expenses, that leftover bucket money is your actual profit. Okay. You
Mhm.
made 10 grand in profit last month. Your credit card, your highest credit card is sitting at 7,500 owed on it, and you're only making your minimum monthly payment. Do you want that? Is that sustainable for you right now? Is that how you want to continue doing it? Because
Mhm.
if it is, that's fine with me. But if
Mhm.
you are so pay off debt focused, then that's not going to be
Right.
how
That's
you
not the
want it
right
to look
move.
like. And
Right.
if that changes from one meeting to the next, you just got to let me know because
I
otherwise I'm going to be messaging you like, hey, your minimum payment just came out. You might want to go ahead and make an extra payment now to get that balance down even more without having the interest on it
right.
because your minimum payment's already paid. So if you want
Right.
to make another payment, that's just like a quote unquote bonus payment. You're not going to like get in trouble for that. And
Mhm.
one thing I will warn people, always, always, always read your contracts for your debts, cars, mortgages, credit cards, loans, anything. Read them, read the fine print, or find someone who you trust to
That
do it
will.
for you.
Yeah.
Because in some of those, there is like a penalty for
Right. For
extra
paying it off
payments.
early. Uh-huh.
Exactly. And
I
so
paid off
what
my
you can
car loan
do,
early and they charged me. And I was like,
that part.
oh,
Yes,
because
my sweet girl.
I can't get out of that interest. That's right. Like I
Thank you.
am on the line for all of that.
Exactly. And so read the fine print, or again, feel safe outsourcing it to someone who you trust because that's
Yeah.
also totally fine, right? I did not go buy a car all by myself. I took my dad with me because I was
Right.
like,
That
my
makes
dad's going
sense.
to
It's a
make
big
sure I do not
decision.
get bent over by this car dealership.
Right.
Um, but that means that like if you can't or you get penalized by paying off that debt early, one, that sucks and it's dumb. And it just goes to show that the system is built to charge you interest, right? Because that's how they're actually making their money. All of these
Mhm.
corporations that give you loans or credit cards, they actually make money off the interest. So if they can't charge you that interest because you paid off the loan early, they're gonna be cranky, which is stupid,
Yeah.
but whatever. Pop off, queen.
That's how they
Um,
make their money. Yep.
Exactly. But that means that you can, again, outsource if you need to. I love calling people on behalf of other people. I will pretend to be you, and call them and be like, hey, can I have a payoff quote, please? I need an estimate for how much it would cost me to pay off this debt in full today. How much would it be? Because most
Mm.
of the time, they're going to give you that quote and it's going to be less. It's going to be
Right.
less. You can do the same thing with debt collection agencies that you're pretending aren't coming after you. Fair warning, they will sue you. I can personally confirm. It
Whoa.
happened to
Interesting.
me. Um, what baby girl? Hold on, we have a small toddler interruption.
No.
Yes, baby girl.
I'm always so impressed at parents' ability to be like working, parenting, working, parenting. It's just so cool to see the like brain switches. It's
Oh, it doesn't fit
amazing.
your fingers? I'm sorry. Okay, you can get a bigger ring. I think there's actually one in front of my dresser. Do you want to go look in mommy and daddy's room? Okay. Okay. Um, yeah, it's a skill. It's a skill.
Yes.
But like
Impressive.
if you have a debt collection agency coming after you, you can call them or have me call them or someone else you trust who can pretend to be you. Call them and be like, "Hey, I want to buy my debt back. I
Mm.
want to buy my debt back from you because debt collection agencies buy the debt from the original creditor.
Wow.
Um, and most often they're gonna take it. They're gonna take that buy-off quote.
Right. I've heard this too with like medical debt. If you
Yep,
call the hospital and say like, "Well, I can't pay the 500, but I can pay you 200."
maybe someday.
And they'll be like, "Okay, sure."
Yeah,
Like,
and
yeah.
it's also for medical debt in particular, it's really important to check and see if that hospital that you went to is a nonprofit, is a 501(c)(3. Quick Google search will tell
Mm.
you because if it's a nonprofit, they typically have to have an AP, accounts payable bucket, that is specifically reserved for people in financial hardship to be able to pay off their
Oh,
loans from that bucket from the hospital. So
wow.
make sure you check. Most hospitals, unfortunately, a lot of hospitals are going to be profit based, because medical care is a scam in the US.
Right. It's for
But
profit.
it's still,
Yeah.
you can still at least check. There's literally never any harm in calling like the records or the billing department and asking them. These people sit and stare at computers all day long. Sometimes a little human interaction will do them some good, but
Oh my
please do
gosh.
remember to be nice to these people. Their only job is to
Yes.
look at numbers. That does not give you the right to be a dick.
Right. I feel like that's something like, okay, this is gonna be my third tip.
Yeah.
While interacting with all of these different people that you will need to eventually and should as soon as possible, like start talking to an accountant, start talking to a bookkeeper, start learning these things.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that there are policies and procedures in place that were created by humans that sometimes are movable.
Yep.
And there are exceptions to every rule
Yep.
that are sometimes available
Mm-hmm.
if you get on the good side of the human you're talking to.
That part.
You
That
know,
part.
so like treat them with respect, meet them as a human
Yep.
first, and then see what kind of help they might be able to offer you,
Yep.
because finances and like all of this regulations and things, are scary to people that don't work in these areas. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
yeah, they're just humans,
Yep. Yep.
doing their job. They're not
Yep.
trying to be personally mean to you. They're just
Nope.
upholding rules on a screen that they were told they
Yep.
have to. And so remembering that, like, yeah, that humanity can go both ways, I think is probably going to be my
Mm-hmm.
third and final tip. What's your third and final tip today?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you are feeling lost in the sauce on your bookkeeping because you have put it off for the past year and now it's tax season and you're panicking because you had to file an extension and oh my God, the IRS is going to kill me and they're going to take me to jail and they're going to garnish my wages that technically don't even exist because I'm not W-2'd, I'm 1099 and, babe, take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
You are worthy of helping. I'm going to say it again. You are worthy of helping. You are worth my time and my energy to remind you that you are a person, not just a paycheck. To
Mm-hmm.
me, you are a whole person, a whole person. And there are, baby, what baby? What do you really want?
From the store.
You want big rings from the store? I hear you. Um,
What?
maybe not today, but
Why?
maybe Friday. You and mommy can go to the store and get you a big ring. Maybe. Did you hear the maybe? Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I heard the
Do you
name.
want a hug? Do you want a hug? You do want a hug? Okay. I love you.
That's what.
And what? After you tell me this, mommy needs to go back to work, okay?
Okay.
Okay. What?
You can get something from the store that you will like.
I can get myself a little treat too.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me permission to take care of myself. It's nice to have that reminder
Yeah, but
sometimes.
what do you want from the store?
I don't know yet. I don't know what I want from the store yet.
You know what you should get?
What?
You should get a tiny little toy from. You should get an egg.
I should get an egg?
Uh-huh.
Thank you
Ooh.
for that suggestion.
Yeah. And
Hey,
what?
mommy needs to go back to work. I love you so much.
I need to tell you one more thing.
One more thing. Okay. Okay.
And
What? This is often what working with kids is going to look like, and it's okay. It doesn't
I
make
love
you a bad business owner.
I love it.
a
It's the
little
same thing as like, yeah, this is gonna
stuffy
be in the
from
podcast. She's on her
I
first
could get a little
podcast.
stuffy. I could. And you?
get fox and you can get fox.
I can get a fox and you can get a fox. Do you know where Moxie's at? Do you know where Moxie is? Loxie? You don't know where Loxie is? Okay.
But
What?
you can get something little
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
cute.
Okay.
Has face.
Okay. I love you. I'm going back to work. You are beautiful and amazing, and I am so glad that you are my baby. And I would like to finish my stream of thought in one conscious run. You want a booby? Okay. Um, so like you are one, you're worthy of helping,
Mhm.
right? You're a whole person. And I care, again, I can't speak for every bookkeeper out there, right? I can only
Mm.
really speak for myself on this one.
Mhm.
But you are worth having the connection to, even if that connection never results in profit for me, because I care way more about helping people. And this
Mm.
is tied very intimately for me in getting away from the societally and capitally enforced notion of profit first. No, no, fuck
Right.
that. People first. People
Yes.
first. I run and operate on a very people first mentality, which is a really hot take because, well, don't you need to make money? Yes, I
Mhm.
I really do. I really
Mhm.
do need way more money than I have right now. And it would be great if someone fell in my lap and was like, "Oh my God, you're the best bookkeeper ever. I want to pay you $1,200 every month to do my bookkeeping." Okay.
Mhm.
If that's what's financially comfortable for you, let's do it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you no, but I'm
Right.
also not going to sit here and tell you no if you're radically honest with me and go, baby, I can't afford what
Mhm.
what I built in my head as your cost.
Mm.
Because I don't ever have the how much do I cost conversation first. I have the what's your scope of work cost? How many
Right.
accounts are we dealing with? How many transactions are we dealing with? Are we dealing with just source documents, which is like your bank statements, your receipts, stuff like that? Or do you have a software that's just wildly like outgrown? It's like a forest in there that you just haven't touched at all and you need me to go through and sort
Right.
it. Because that's very different than
Yes.
I have 5 years of transactions I need you to categorize for me. That's so different. And that's not going to cost the same. It's not, because it
Mhm.
wouldn't be right for me to just go, everybody is the same. Everybody's financial situation deserves the same level of compassion and lack thereof. No, you are a person. That means that I, as a person, want to take care of you because my
Right.
actual goal is building community where people feel
Mm.
safe to talk about their money without someone yelling at them, without
Mm.
their parents going, "You're 23, 24, 25, 30, and you're still living with us and you're in debt. And how did you get here?" And blah, blah, blah. Have you seen the world around us recently?
Right.
I
Like,
can
how
go
did
to
you
the
get here?
grocery
I
store.
was born in the 90s.
How,
Like,
right? How did I get here? You. I got here because of you.
why don't you tell me?
Why don't you tell me? And like I don't judge, y'all. I don't
I love
care.
that.
In the very best way possible. I don't care. And
Right?
that can be really
Yes.
scary for people when you're like, yeah, no, I just don't give a shit what you're doing. I just want to help you
Mhm.
feel good about what you're doing.
Mhm.
Because up until the moment you fire me, your financial decisions don't actually impact me.
Right. And
Because
that's a very similar vibe I bring to like marketing,
yeah,
consulting, and coaching. It's like there are lots of ways that this could work. What's going to
yeah,
work for you though?
that
Because it
part.
doesn't actually affect me whether you do a webinar as your lead magnet or a guidebook or a summit or whatever. I can teach you how to do all those things, but I need you to like the plan,
Right?
you
I need
know?
you to be on board because if you're not on
Hmm.
board, then why are we here? Why am I trying to help you if you are not yet ready to be helped? Otherwise, if you're ready to be helped, I'm here. But if you're not ready yet, that's okay. We can be friends. I'll be your cheerleader. I'll root for you. I'll support you. I'll never ask you again if you need a bookkeeper
Right.
until you tell me because I'm not going to sit here and shove myself down your throat and choke out our relationship as a result.
Right.
Because
The relationship matters more. Yes.
that part. And like, because of that, I've gotten a lot of flack for not being profit first and that, I've had people tell me that's not sustainable for me. And I'm like, yeah, you think I don't know that? You think that I don't know I can't pay my internet bill without money to pay my internet bill? I know that. I moved out at 18. I
Mhm.
threw myself into the big girl world without taking a second chance to look back because what I left behind is far worse than what I'm
Right.
living now.
Right.
And it was worth it to struggle and
Mhm.
crawl. At one point, I was working 70-hour work weeks
Oh,
um, to be able to afford to get out and stay out of my parents' house. And
yeah.
I still, to this day, Don't regret it. And I still will hustle and grind hard. I'm in a season of my life right now where I'm working like 6 to 7 days a week. Is that long-term sustainable? No, ma'am. Is it what the season of my life demands from me right now? Yes, ma'am. And still in my corner is my husband, my partner, my ride or die going, babe, you need a day off. You are worth taking a day off for. But I can't make money if I'm off work. It doesn't matter. The money
Right,
will
you're not going
come.
to make money the next day either if you're burnt
Right.
out. Like
Right.
it's so worth it to take care of yourself. And it's interesting you're, the human first dynamic over
Yeah.
profit first, like that needs to apply on your business in every
Yeah.
single level,
Yep.
not just how you manage your money, but also your energy too.
Yep.
Ugh, I just love this
Yeah.
conversation and we should start doing this like quarterly or something. Just like
I would love
money
to.
tips quarterly or something. I don't know. It's
I would
just so
love to.
fun. I
Yeah.
love talking to you because I think there's so many shared values that we carry
Mm,
into this work, even though like we do very different things. It overlaps so well because like I want to help people make more money so they get to decide how they use it. And then you want to help
right.
people decide how they use it. Or no, not
And
decide,
know
but
how
document
they
how they
use
use
it.
it.
That part.
Yeah.
And
Ugh,
like
so
make it
cool.
fun. Make it fun. Reward
Right.
yourself with 5 M&Ms for every category you
So good.
finish.
Yeah.
And because I'm neurodivergent myself, my mental health rap sheet's pretty chunky. I understand that sometimes you're just not going to want to do it, and that's okay. We can sit down and do it together. I'll do it for you. We can gamify it. We can create our very own, character sheets from D&D or a Pathfinder and make you this whole
Oh my gosh.
persona that does your bookkeeping, and you have this whole like hot accountant vibe that does your bookkeeping for you that isn't you but is you. We can create dice sheets where you roll a dice and that's what you're doing today is what's on that sheet. And it tells
Mm,
you, okay, great, you're going to go through your receipts for, 1 month of 2023, right? And I know that tax day has already come and gone, and I'm sure that our ADHD babies are well aware that tax day has come and gone,
right.
and they are suffering under the crippling guilt of, oh my God, I needed to file another extension. If it makes you feel any better, I, for 2 years in a row, am on a payment plan with the IRS. And it's relatively painless to set up a payment plan with
Right.
them. And I'm not talking quarterly estimated payments. No, ma'am. I am talking, I owe them money and went, hey, um, I don't got it. And they said, okay, can you pay us every month? And I said, probably. And they said, cool, how much? And I said, this much. And they said, okay. And now I'm good. And like,
Right.
it's going to take me, I think the original quote was like 32 months to pay off my 2023 taxes. But you know what? It's fine. I have a payment plan. I'm fine.
It's I keep coming back to mortgages. Like they print you this schedule of your
Yep.
mortgage where they literally show you every payment you will make for 30 years printed out.
Yep.
So we're talking what is that? 30 times 12
Mm.
hundreds
I
of
have my calculator.
months?
Hold on. I got you, babes.
It's bananas.
That is 360 months.
Exactly. And so they print that for you when you have to go sign it because they want to show you like you're going to be paying this for 30 years and that's fine. Like
And like we mean it. We mean
yeah,
it.
like you actually will have this payment for 30 years. And so thinking about it that way, it's like okay, I'm gonna if I'm making that payment, I'm gonna be living in this house then. And so for me, I translate that to a business of like, if
Yep.
I'm going to be paying things for my business, it's because I'm still in business, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
alternatively, if my business ends, like I could close it via bankruptcy if I had to, but like,
Yeah.
or at some point, I will become green, right? And that
Yeah.
flip is so fucking cool and
Yeah.
so worth it and can happen way sooner than most people realize. Ugh. Okay,
Yeah.
Grayson, we're going to talk all day. So, in true ADHD fashion, let's try to wrap up our thoughts with a closing piece of advice or wisdom. And
Mm-hmm.
then we can see if y'all are listening to this episode and you're like, wait, but you didn't talk about this. And what about this problem I have? Like, send me a message. I will bring Grayson back. We will answer your questions. And I promise, like, we will continue talking more about money. That's something a lot of people have been asking me for more of this year. So we are going to
Mm-hmm.
get more of these conversations out there for you all. But in closing for me, hire Grayson / start doing your books because it's worth it. Gracesyn, what about you?
Yeah.
What's your closing takeaway?
Again, you're worth it. You are worth feeling empowered no matter what choice you make, whether you decide to outsource it, whether you decide to figure it out for yourself. There is no judgment. Come to me, ask me how to do it. I will show you. We will do as much of your books together as you want. We will do as little of your books together as you want. I'll set you up with software. I'll set you up with Google Sheets, whatever works best for you and is most sustainable for you in your business, both now and as you grow. And it's okay if for right now, you as a business owner are still scared about, well, I don't really want to hand over all my financial information to somebody else. That's okay. That's okay. You don't have to. That doesn't have any moral bearing. It doesn't make you a good person or a bad person. It just makes you a person making a decision. And how you decide to handle that also does not have any moral bearing. It doesn't mean you're a good person. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It means you're making the decision that feels right for you.
I love that.
And also never stop asking questions ever. Stay curious about yourself, about your business, about financial management, about investment, about, different kinds of accounts for retirement for yourself. It's so easy to get stuck in the right now I need to feed my family. Yeah, you do. You really do. And it's okay if that's where you're at right now. It's just, I need to just make enough to feed my family and keep the lights on and keep the roof over our head. Don't let yourself get stuck there, though. Remember that you want to be alive 10 years from now. Remember that you want to be alive 50 years from now, maybe. Remember that you want, if you have kids, you want them to be better off than you were. And those decisions are no one but yours to make as a business owner. No one else gets to tell you what to do. You're the boss. And it's scary, but it means that you get to decide. And my job's just to back you up.
I love it so much. Y'all, do you get why I work with her? It's so good. Oh, thank you so much for your time today, for sharing your wisdom with me and the audience of Sustain Your Passion. I cannot wait to have you back on for more info because you are just a wealth of knowledge. And I love that you are sharing the people side of this work. So thank you so much for the work you do in the world, for all that you do for me and my business, and for being here today. And I'm sure we will revisit this topic again in the future. So with that, we are going to sign off, say thanks everyone for listening, and I'll be back next week with another episode. Thanks again, Gracesyn.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Sustain Your Passion podcast. If this episode helped you gain a bit more clarity, courage, or confidence, please share it with your friends on social media or in a text. It would mean the world to me. Thanks in advance for sharing this episode. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.